بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔
شروع اللہ کے نام سے جو رحمان و رحیم ہے۔
اقرأ بسم ربک الذی خلق۔
پڑھو اے نبی اپنے رب کے نام کے ساتھ جس نے پیدا کیا۔
خلق الانسان من علق۔
جمے ہوئے خون کے ایک لوتھڑے سے انسان کی تخلیق کی۔
اقرأ وربک الاکرم۔
پڑھو اور تمہارا رب بڑا کریم ہے۔
الذی علم بالقلم۔
جس نے قلم کے ذریعے سے علم سکھایا۔
علم الانسان ما لم يعلم۔
انسان کو وہ علم دیا جسے وہ نہ جانتا تھا۔
Assalamu alaikum. Today we are commencing with the great name of Allah Almighty, who is the most beneficent and ever merciful. And this is the fifth video session of ICT for class 8, and this is me, your ICT teacher. And today we are going to discuss our whole content for the first semester midterm 2020. And as you know that in this particular content we have completed the 3 different chapters in different several weeks, from week number 2 till week number 6. So first of all, after viewing or after watching this video, first of all you have to complete your copy work from week number 2 till week number 6, and make sure that your work is completely according to the school's standard or the school policy, because you have to submit your copy for checking purpose. So today the very first topic that we are starting to discuss is our chapter number 1 from our content, namely Introduction to Axis 2013. Axis is the very first chapter from our book, and as we know that Axis, in this chapter we are starting the basic and the fundamental concepts regarding Axis 2013. So what is an Axis? An Axis is a software. So today we are starting our chapter number 1 according to this particular chart, and on this particular chart I have mentioned all the relevant topics that we have discussed in the different videos, and today we have to describe them and we have to discuss, we have to revise them collectively. So the very first topic that we have discussed for chapter number 1, Introduction to Axis 2013, is our topic software. So what is basically a software? A software is a set of programs that is designed to operate computer system. Whenever we start a computer system, so from its starting until its end, whatever we are working for, we are working with the help of different softwares, and the computer system also starts with a particular collection of softwares that is known as Windows. So the Windows that you see right after the starting your computer system is the set of different softwares that are combined to operate your computer. So a software is basically a simple computer program or a set of different instructions that is designed, that is developed to make you guys helpful how to operate your computer system. So our next topic is database. So whenever we are discussing the Axis and we are not discussing the database, so this is not a suitable thing. Whenever we have to discuss Axis, so firstly we have to discuss and we have to understand what is our database. So our database is an organized collection of data or information, as I have told you, as I have given you explanation on this particular topic. For example, we are having some different types of files and we have to make them safe. So make them safe, I have to, and I am wishing to keep them in a cupboard. So as I collect them, I organize them and I keep all these collection of files in a particular cupboard, so it becomes our database according to the computer concepts. So what is a database? Whenever we are having different types of data or we are having the vast collection of different data types, so firstly we organize them, and after making them organized, we collect them data for particular use or for the future use. So whenever we make this particular collection, so it is known as a database. This is a particular term that is used for the organized data collection. Right after that, we are having the 4 different types of database. Number 1 hierarchical, number 2 network, number 3 relational, and 4th one is the object oriented database. So for the first one we have discussed this, and for the first one we have the particular structures, basically a tree like structure just like this. So whenever you are discussing the hierarchical database, so it arrives in this particular forms. And second one is network. Network is also similar to hierarchical but with a minor difference, that is the difference of their heads, the parent head and the child head. And right after that we are having the relational database. This is the most popular and the most important type of database. In this particular type of database we will discuss in this chapter this one, relational, because what is Access? Access 2013 is also a relational database. And fourth one is your object oriented, and the structure of object oriented is just like that. In this particular, for example, we are having a head school in oval shape, and all the relevant concepts we have to write them in this particular form. So these are the different forms of the different types of the database, and we are discussing the relational as Access. Now next one topic or the next one term is DBMS. So first of all we must understand what does DBMS stands for. DBMS stands for Database Management System. And what is a DBMS? A DBMS is a set of programs. What is a set of programs? A set of programs is a software. As I have mentioned over here, what is a software? A software is a set of programs. And DBMS is also a set of programs. So it simply means that database management system is a particular software that allows storage, modification, retrieval of information from a database. So with the help of this particular software, what can we do? We can work the different type of for the different type of data. We can use this for the storage, for the modification, and for the future use for the retrieval of the information from a database that we have made as a, that we have known as a organized collection of data or any particular information. So whenever we have to work on any type of database, so the software that we use to perform the different types of functions, the different type of tasks, that software is known as database management system. And after that we are having the functions of database management system. So there are several systems that are given in your book as the functions of DBMS. So first one is it reduces your data redundancy. Data redundancy means the duplication or the repetition of data, means one file is repeating again and again. So next topic after database management system is your functions of DBMS. What the so different several functions are given in your particular book, and these are mentioned on this chart sheet. So first of all we are having the reduces. Number one, it reduces our data redundancy. Data redundancy simply means the duplication or the repetition of data. For example, one particular file is repeating again and again in the computer system, so it reduces the chances of the data repetition. Second one is it controls data inconsistency. If the data is inconsistent, so DBMS will help you to how to make your data more consistent. Third one is it facilitates the sharing of data. With the help of database management system, we can easily share our data to any other location or to any other computer that we have allowed after the permission of an authorized person. So next one is that enforces its standards. With the help of this DBMS, we may also maintain the different standards. And for the fifth one, it ensures data security. The data is secured until you will not allow your computer system or any other person to use your data. Nobody can use your data. Sixth one is your it maintains integrity. It allows us the facilitation of making the data integrated. Next one, the most important topic and the main topic, as we know this as a chapter number 1, or the name of the chapter, that is Access 2013. So in Access 2013, what is Access 2013? Microsoft Access is a DBMS. So what is a DBMS? A DBMS is a set of programs. What is a set of programs? A set of programs is a software. So simply Access 2013, that is known as Microsoft Access 2013, is a software or DBMS application, means it's an application software that can store and manage a large volume of data, and it simply stores and manages the different types of data and especially the large volume of data. So now you have to come understand that why are we discussing the database, then we have discussed the database management system, and now we are discussing the Access, because Access is all about the storage and the management and the controlling of the data. So we have discussed the database and database management system before understanding the Access 2013. Now next one topic is the objects of Access. So what are the objects, what are the elements that we can work with the help of Access? So we can work with the help of tables, the forms, queries, reports, macros and modules. The first one, second one, third one and fourth one, we will discuss them. In the first one we will discuss it and 2, 3, 4. This is forms, queries and reports. We will discuss them in chapter number 2 in detail. And macros and modules, we will not discuss this according to our book. And next one is the methods of creating a database. So how do we create a database? We can create any particular database in two different ways. Number one, using template. Number two, from scratch. Whenever you start your Access 2013, different types of templates, the ready-made samples of database are available to use and that are easy to use. And number one option is from scratch. From scratch means you will start your Access 2013 or your data making or your database management with the help of a blank screen. Whenever you start your Access with the help of this particular option from scratch, so your Access will start with a blank screen. And if you are starting your Access with the different types of templates, so your screen will appear with the help in the form of different tables that you have selected in the form of different templates. Right after that, the rules for naming a field. As you start as you create your database, so the screen is displayed, and if you have selected it as template, so you will be having the different types of table. And if you are starting this from scratch, the screen will be blank and you will add the table with the help of this tables group. And right after that, a screen will appear that is having your tables, and in tables column you have to edit the name of the field. What is field and what are records? Firstly, we have to understand what is a field and what are records. So a field is the type of data or is the particular data or the category of the data that is maintained in a vertical form. Vertical form is known as field, and what is a record? The horizontal form of data for any particular table is known as record. For example, this is a table with three different several tables. So the data that we will enter in the column form, that is known as field. These are the fields 1, 2, 3. These are fields, and the data that I will enter in this horizontal form, so these are known as records. So the data in column form or the vertical form is known as field, and the data that we enter in the row form or the horizontal form is known as your record. So this is your column form, you may say it, and this is the row form. So here we are discussing the rules for naming a field. How may we name a different field? There are the different types of field, field 1, field 2, field 3. So how may I add or enter this name of any particular field, and according to this particular field I will enter all the records. So we may enter any particular name of a field. Number 1, it can be 1 to 64 characters long. Rule number 2 is it can be in upper, lower or mixed case. Number 3 is it can include letters, numbers or some special characters, and the underscore sign is also used. And the next one is rule. The fifth one rule is it cannot have a period. It may not have any symbol that is used to show your period, and it cannot start with a blank space. The first character that you will enter, it may be a letter or number or any special character, but it cannot be a blank space. So these are some particular rules for naming a field. Next is setting data type, the most important topic in Access 2013 whenever you are working with the table. So whenever we are working with the table, we have to type or we have to enter the different types of data in any particular table. For example, if I am discussing this one table as an example, so this is my column that is used for student ID. This is the column that is used for student name, and this is the column that is used for class. So this particular column is representing different types of data. Here I will enter the student IDs in the form of numbers, and here I will mention the names of the students in the form of text, and here I will mention the class of the students, maybe in the form of number or in the Roman type. So how will I decide that which one data type I should use in any particular field? So there are several different types of data that we may set to any particular field, and then we will add the similar data type in that particular field. So first one data type that we may use is short text. Second one is long text. In short text data type you may add up to 255 characters, and in long text data type you may add 65,535 characters. Next is third, your number data type, and in number data type you will add the numbers. Fourth one is date and time. For date and time you have the different types of format for the date or the time. So if you assign your field with the help of this data type, date and time, so in this field you will add your different dates or the different timings in the format that you have selected. After that we are having the currency. In the currency data type we may add the different types of currencies, any Pakistani currency or any international currency. Or sixth one is the auto number field. Auto number field is very good field, and this is really very helpful whenever we are having the particular data type. For example, the student ID, here I have added as a first record the student ID as 1101. So if I set this particular field as auto number field, so as I press the enter key to come to the next row for entering my next record, so it will automatically convert it as 1102. This is the auto number data type. Then OLE object, with the help of OLE object you may work for the different objects. For example, if you want to attach any MS Word document, or if you want to add any different sheet or the Excel sheet, so you will add with the help of this OLE object. And for the ninth one, the hyperlink. Hyperlink is representing your any type of text or any type of statement that is underlined, and whenever you move the mouse cursor over this line or over this statement, so it will change its color as blue. So this statement is particularly known as hyperlink, and this is used to link your page or your data to the internet or any source of the internet or any other page on the internet. So we may also add the hyperlink with the help of our data. And attachments, we may also attach a different type of documents. And for the 11 calculated, if we set our field as calculated, so we will be able to type or enter the different types of calculation that we have performed in the different previous fields. Last one topic that we are discussing for chapter number 1, Access 2013, is totaling. Totaling is we are discussing totaling for the records. How do we total the records? So whenever we want to total the records, firstly we have to click the home tab from our page or from our very basic window of Access 2013. Right after clicking the home tab, you will go to the records group, and in the records group the different groups will be appeared, and from the records group you will select the totals, and after clicking this total button you have to simply select the fields records you want to total, and the result will be shown as you want. So these are the particular topics that we have discussed for chapter number 1, Introduction to Access 2013. Now we are discussing our chapter number 2, that is an extension chapter of Access. Chapter number 2, Access 2013. The concepts that we are discussing over here are design view, queries, forms, and reports. So the data type or the table type that we have discussed in chapter number 1 is the type that we may know that we may say as the data sheet view. Whenever we start our Access, so the data is represented in different forms, and the Access will start in the 2 different views. The first one view is the data sheet view, and the second one view is the design view. So what is the data sheet view? With the help of data view or data sheet view, we may enter any type of data, we may modify the different types of data, and with the help of design view we may enter or we may work with the different functions of the tables for the modification of data. Yes, this is our next leaf for this chart sheet, and on this particular leaf or this page we are having a sample of table design screen. How does this screen appears whenever we start our Access 2013 in the design view? So the views that we are discussing, number one is data sheet view. Second one is your design view. From the tables group, you have the two different buttons. First one is for table, adding a table, inserting a table in the data sheet view, and if you click the second one button, that is something like this, and it has the different symbols over here. So if you press this type of button, so you will start your Access 2013 in the design view, and if you are pressing the first one key, this one key, simple, a table button from the tables group, so your Access will start in the data sheet view. With the help of data sheet view, you may enter the data, and with the help of design view, you may modify or make your data more beautiful and more attractive for the viewers or for yourself. So next one is the table design screen. As we click this particular button from the tables group, a screen appears in this particular form, and this is table design screen. This table design screen is divided into two different parts. The first one part is field definition grid, and the next one part is field properties pane. So this is your top half part, and this is your bottom half part. So in this top half part, we have discussed the different four parts. The first one is the field selector part. This one gray side is your field selector part, and this one is your field name. This is your data type, and the third and the optional part is your description. This is here I have mentioned the OPT, and OPT stands for the optional. So description is the optional part. You may skip this, and these are the most important parts. You have to follow these three different steps for modification of any particular table. Right after that, the bottom half, the field properties pane consists of the two different windows or the different options. Number one is general, and second one is lookup. So in general field or the general pane, you have the different properties that we will discuss with the help of next week, and on the lookup button, you will have the field that you may use or that we use to make our data in a list form. For example, in any particular field, if I want to enter the data from a particular list, so I will create a particular list with the help of this lookup field option, and I will set this property to my any field, and after setting this property, I will be able to enter the data, any type of data that I have assigned in different lists. So the data type that I have assigned or that I have maintained in my list, I will be able to select the different options from the list, and right after the table design screen, in the general section, we have these different properties. The first one property is your field size. So in the field size property, we may decide the different sizes for the fields or the name of the field. So for text, you may add maximum 255 characters, and if you are adding the numbers, so for numbers, it represents or it determines the range and the storage of the numbers that you may work with the field. Next one is our format. Format means the pre-designed, you may say the format or the structure of any different thing you are having in the Access. So in Access, we are having the different formats for the numbers and the currencies. Next for the date and time, and last one for the logical type of data. So first one for number and currency, we have the general number, the currency, euro, fixed, standard, percentage and scientific. These are the 7 different formats that may have as a default, and we may also customize these different formats whatever we want. And after that, we have date and time formats. So for date and time, we have the different formats. Number one is general date, next one is our short, long or medium date, and the next one is our short, long or medium time. So these are also basically the 7 different formats that we may select for any type of data entry that is in the form of date and time. Now for the logical format, as you know that logical format or the logical data type have the 2 different options only, that is a yes or no. So the formats are also of the form yes or no, or true or false, or maybe on or off. Right after that, the formats, we have the input mask. So what is the input mask? Input mask simply facilitates the data entry. For example, if we have to add a particular phone number, so the input mask for the phone entry or the phone number will be in this particular form. Next one is the caption. What is the caption? A caption is an alternative and explanatory name for the field. Whenever you are having the field name in the explanatory form, in the descriptive form, so you will use the caption property to add the field name as an alternative and as the explanatory name, and it can contain up to 2048 characters. Next one is default value. The field is automatically filled whenever a new record is added or whenever we add a new record. So for example, if you are having a table and in this table we are having the different types of records for different persons, and there is also a field that is known as nationality. So obviously the data that we have maintained for the different persons, they all belong to our dear homeland, that is Pakistan. So their nationality will be same as nationality. Okay, so I will set this property default value for this particular field nationality as default value, and as whenever I press the enter key, first of all this will mention or represent your field as Pakistani, and as I press the enter key, so and means I am willing or I am trying to add a new record. So this field, that is nationality, that has been set to the property as default value, will repeat itself as Pakistani. Means I don't need to repeat this particular word Pakistani again and again after using the property of default value. Next one is a validation rule. Validation rule simply means a limitation of the data. Whenever I assign any particular rule to any particular field, then I cannot enter any number from numbers or any type of data if I am having the rule, if I am having the limitations. So I will add my data according to the limits that I have assigned with the help of this property, that is validation rule. So what is the validation rule? The field is limited for the particular values of acceptance, for acceptance. So the different type of data will be accepted according to the limit that we have assigned to this particular field. So after the validation rule, we are having the validation text. Whenever any particular value is added to a table or to a field as a record, that is not according to the validation rule, or that is splitting, or that is against the validation rule, so our message will appear, that is known as validation text. So what is an validation text? An error message appears whenever entered value violates the rule. Whenever the rule is violated by any entered value, so a message appears, an error message, that is known as validation text. After that we are having the property of required. What is required? Required is also a good property, and this is set, this may be set as yes or no. There are the two different options for the required property. If you are having the field that is mandatory, means you have to fill the data in the field necessarily, so this will be set as the yes. So we will set this property, this optional property that is required, as yes. And if the field is not mandatory, means you are optional, or you are having a choice with the field that you may enter and you may not enter the different type of data for that particular field. So you will set this particular property as no. So this is yes and this is no. So over here that is written as statement yes for the data entry in the field. If you want to enter the data, you will set this field as yes, and no when the field can be left blank. And if I may left this field blank, or I may skip this field, so this will be set as no. Allow zero length, the last one property, it depends on the required, and allow zero length means simply you are not having zero length, means you are not having any character. So for text and memo data types, this is used for the text and the memo data types, and required is yes. If we have set this property, the required property, as yes, means the field is mandatory to be filled, data is entered. And allow zero length is no. Allow zero length means you are not allowing this field to be zero length, means you are allowing, you are suggesting this field to add some data. So you have to set required as yes and allow zero length as no if you have to enter the data. And if you don't want to add the data, both will be no. and your field will be blank. Bold will be set as no, means required is no, and allow zero length is also set as no. So this will represent, or this will allow you to keep your blank or keep your field as blank, or you may also skip this field as blank. Now after discussing these fields from general, we are having the next topic of our chapter. This is all about the design view, the first one topic of chapter number 2. Now we are discussing the queries, forms and reports. What are the queries? As we have discussed, what queries are the answers to the particular questions that are asked or that are arise according to the data condition. Whenever we have to ask a data, we have to make a query on the data. So we use this queries type of axis, and for this object forms, this allow us to represent, to enter, to modify, to delete or to edit the data more efficiently as a data sheet view. And what about the reports? Reports are the friendly printer friendly formats or the specimens for the printer whenever we want to print out or make to a hard copy of the data that we are having as a soft copy on a computer screen. So we will use this particular option or this particular object of Access 2013 to convert our computer form data or table to our paper form presentation of the data. So this is report. The printer form or the printed form of the data is known as our reports. So now we are having on the next leaf the different steps that we will follow to work with these different objects for the queries, the forms and the reports. Yes, this is your next leaf, and as you can see on this beautiful leaf, we are having the two different heads, queries and forms. So whenever you have to start or use your query option or the object from the axis, so you will go to create, and from this query group there are the two different buttons, that is query wizard and that is query design. If you will click the query wizard, so a wizard will open and you will follow all these particular steps to work with this type of query. And if you click this one button, the query design, so you will have to follow these particular steps that we have discussed in detail in the last video class to work with the query design. Now how do we save the query? So to save a different type of query, we have to follow these simple steps. Means if we are saving for the first time or we have saved any of the query previously or earlier, so both of the options or the steps are mentioned over here that we have discussed earlier. Now the next one is our forms. Whenever we have to work with the forms, we will again go to the create tab, and now for the forms group, we will click firstly the simple form command. This is your form command, and with the help of using this button, you will follow these simple steps. And for split form, you will work for the more forms button, and from more forms button, you will use the form or you will edit your form, you will create your form in the split form. And you may also go to the form wizard, and this is your form wizard option or the button. You will click this form wizard button, and by clicking this form wizard button, you will follow these simple steps to work with the form wizard. And after following all these steps, you will be able to to have your screen in the format that you want in the queries or the forms type. Now on the next leaf, we are having the last topic of our chapter number 2, that is reports. Now we have created the data in different types of forms or different types of data sheet or table design view, and we want to make this data or convert this data on the paper form, and we want a print out of this data. So we can create a print form or a report in the two different steps. Yes, with the help of create tab, you will be having the reports group, and from the reports group, simply using this particular button, the reports button, you will have the report command, and by following these simple particular steps. And next is your using report wizard. This is your report wizard button, and after clicking the report wizard button, you will be able to follow the different steps, and after following these particular steps, a report will be displayed on the computer screen. And these are the steps for printing a report and after that you will have a report on a paper form as your final result of report. And after that chapter number 2 is completed over here. We have completely discussed the design view, the table design screen, and the two parts. Number 1 the definition, field definition grid. Number 2 is fields properties pane, and next one is the queries, then forms and reports. And now we are discussing our last chapter, that is chapter number 3. And the name of the chapter number 3 is lists and images in HTML file. As the name implies, we are discussing the list and the images concept in the different software, that is HTML. And HTML, you have also studied this particular topic in your previous class, the class 7. And now we are discussing the list and the image concept for this particular software, that is known as HTML. So what does this particular word stands for? HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language is the full form of HTML, and in this particular language, as we know that this is a particular type of computer language. So in this particular language, we use the data, or we enter the data in the forms of codes. In the form of codes, and these codes are known as markup tags. So with the help of these tags, whenever we are discussing the HTML, we are discussing simply the markup tags, and in the markup tags, the basic structure of markup tags is enclosed in these angle brackets, a pair of angle brackets, and these brackets are known as angle brackets because they are showing their form in the form of an angle. We represent an angle in this form in mathematics, so these are also representing the angle form. So these are known as angle brackets, and whatever the data we want to enter or whatever the statement we want to write in this particular language, we have to use the particular and the assigned markup tags to add any type of statement that we are willing to add in our HTML document, or that we want to add on the web pages. Basically, HTML or the hypertext markup language is used to work with your web pages, or to create or to develop the different types of web pages and different types of websites. And what is a website? A website is a collection of different types of web pages. So for developing the web pages, we use this particular language, hypertext markup language, known as HTML. Now we are discussing in HTML what we have to study in our chapter number 3. So for HTML, we have to discuss the different types of lists. Number 1 is your ordered list. Number 2, unordered list. Third one is your description list. Now, as I have told you, whatever the type of work or the different concept that we are applying in HTML, we have to use the different or the particular assigned HTML markup tags. So for the list, whenever I want to add a list or a series of different items, so the tag that I will use, this is your li tag, small l, small I, with the help of that is enclosed in the two different angle brackets. This is the opening tag, and the closing tag for list is the same tag, but with a slash before li. So this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag whenever we want to add a particular list. So the list items, for example, I have to add the list of the 3 different subjects like biology, chemistry and physics. So biology, physics and chemistry are the different list items individually. So whenever I will add these 3 subject names, so I will use firstly the li tag I will type, then I will type my subject name as biology, then I will type this particular tag to enter this particular word biology as a list item in my web page. Now we are discussing the different types of lists. So first of all we are having the ordered list. So the tag for the ordered list is OL tag as an opening tag and OL tag with the additional slash as a closing tag. For unordered list we are having the tag as UL and slash UL respectively for the closing and the opening. Then for the description we have different tags like DD or DL. So all these tags are used to enter your list in the different forms. The first one form is ordered. As its name implies, this is word derived from the word order. Order means sequence. So whenever we want to add a list of items in a particular sequence, we use this type of list, and for using this type of list we will use this particular tag. As I enter the tag as OL tag enclosed in this particular angle brackets, my notepad or the document that I am using or the software that I am using to type my different codes will understand that we want to create an ordered list. And if I want an unordered list, what is an unordered list? As its name also implies, whenever the order or the sequence of the items that we are adding in our HTML document as a list items is not necessary. The order is not necessary, the sequence doesn't matter. So we use this type of list, and for creating unordered list we use this type of tag, that is UL and slash US. U stands for unordered and L is standing for list. So this is your tag representing your unordered list. Now we are having the description list. So for description list we have the 3 different types in the book, and for description list we use the tag as DL. Yes, this is given in the book on page number 59. This is description list tag over here, and in this description list tag we are having the different tags for DL description list, and DT for description list term, and DD for definition list description. So these are the 3 subtypes of the description list. Description list simply is representing your items that are in the descriptive form. For example, the different definitions. If we are creating a web page for the students guide or for any educational purpose, and we have to type any different types of definitions or different concepts regarding any particular object. For example, I have to type the definition of number 1 queries, number 2 forms and number 3 reports. So I will use this particular tag. This is description list, because this is a type of list, but this is a descriptive type of list, and in this particular list for any particular list item you have to type a description, a detail. So this is known as a description list, and the tag that we use for description list is your DL tag. And this is all about our lists. Now we are discussing the images. The last topic of our today's revision. With the help of HTML we may also add the different type of images as our content of the web page or as the background of the web page. So for inserting images, for adding images, the tag that we use is this particular tag. These 3 words IMG, that is representing your word image, and that are also enclosed in an angle bracket, as this is a markup tag. So with the help of using this image tag we may enter any of the image or any of the picture that we are having on our computer system, and simply we have to type in the location or the URL of the particular image. For example, Wherever the location or the picture, the image is saved into your computer system, you will type the all of the location over here, and then you will enclose your angle bracket. So this tag is used to insert your image. And after that we are having the different attributes of image tag. Means with the help of image tag what can we do, or what type of functions we can perform for any particular image. So for this image tag, so I am turning my this sleeve, and on this last sleeve we are having the different properties. Number one is your list properties, and these are the list properties, and these are the attributes of the image tag. So we have discussed the list. Now we are discussing firstly the list properties, then we will discuss the attributes of the image. So what are the list properties? There are the different list properties. List style, this is used to set all list properties in one declaration. List style position specifies the position of the list item marker, means from where the list will start, or it represents the alignment of your list. Then list properties for an unordered list. This was for simply a list. Now we are discussing the ordered, unordered and ordered list individually. So list style image specifies the image that will be used as the list item marker. So with the help of this list style image, we are using the image that will be used as the list item marker. What is the list item marker? List item marker is simply a number or a shape that is used to assign the different list items. For example, we are working with the lists. So different shapes we may use for mentioning the next item. Here we are having a name or a word that is pencil. Here we are having a word that is eraser, and here as ruler. So these are three different list items. So we may represent these different list items with the help of different list item markers. So these are known as the list item markers for an unordered list. And we may also use image as our list item marker, and we may also use a bullet, and bullet will be in any of the form from these different types of bullets, and this is this style type, and you will set with the help of this property, you may set the bullet style for your list item marker for any particular unordered list. Now for the ordered list, there is only one property, that is again list style type, and here you will specify the type of the list item marker, which type of list item marker you need, because this is an unordered list. So you may use any of the simple icon like this, any of these for representing your different list items. But for the ordered list, you need a particular sequence, so you have to mention the sequence with the help of the different alphabets or the numbers. So you may use as list item markers the decimal numbers, the lower or the upper Roman counting, and similarly the lower and the upper alphabets. So as you know that the numbers, the decimals, the Roman countings and the alphabets also have a particular order. So if you will use these particular things as your list item marker, so it's simply representing your unordered list. So these are the simple properties for the list, then unordered list, and last for the ordered list. Now we are discussing the attributes for the image tag. This is the particular image tag that we use to enter or to insert any type of image to our web page. So what are the functions, what are the limitations of this image tag? So for image tag we can use this particular word, that is SRC. SRC representing your source. What is the source? Source is the URL, and URL stands for Uniform Resourceful Locators, and this URL is representing the location, the path of your image on your computer system. So with the help of this word SRC, we will simply specify the location of the picture from where we are picking or we are getting this image. Next one is your ALT. ALT is representing your alternate text. Alternate text is representing, or alternate text simply means if the image is not shown, if image is not displaying on the screen, so the text that is alternate for the image that will represent your image. So we should enter that particular text or the alternate text whenever the picture is not displayed. This particular alternate text will be displayed on the screen. So you may add any type of alternate text, but usually the image is not available, text is used as your alternate text. Next one is your height, and the last one is your width. So height and width is specified with the help of these two functions in the image tag, and this simply specifies the height and the width of an image in the form of different pixels. So this is the attribute of image check, and at the start of this chapter we are having a particular topic that I have mentioned on my previous leaf. These are the particular properties that are present in your book on page number 51, from 51 till 54, the top half of the page number 54, and these are the revision or from your previous class, your class 7. So you will study these particular properties yourself. So this is the end of our content and all the chapters that are included in our content. Now I am mentioning all of my chapters to maintain your content over here. So first of all, you will mention the main head for the content, then chapter number 1, introduction to Axis 2013, then chapter number 2, Axis 2013 design view, forms, queries, forms and reports. Then the third or the last one chapter, chapter number 3, lists and images in HTML5. So before this content head, you will mention the head for your semester. As you know, this is the first semester midterm. So firstly, we will mention the first semester midterm content. So this is the complete head for your content, right? So this is your content. As you know that 3 chapters are included in your first semester midterm from your book. Now we are simply discussing our copy maintenance. After the complete explanation, the work that you will complete or you will do. So this is your copy, your ICT copy, and you will firstly fill up this first one page and this first one page. As I have told this in my first video class for week number 2, that you have to firstly maintain your basic information for this cover page and this first page of your copy, and then you will fill up this index. Yes, this is your index for first semester midterm, and you will maintain your index week wise for week number 2 for Monday and Tuesday, again for week number 3 respectively for week number 4, 5, and then for week number 6 in the last for the 2 days that you have for the ICT, and then you will mention this particular closing tag that first semester midterm has been completed or closed. Then your work for index is completed, and as you can see that I have maintained this index in a proper form. So you will also maintain your index in this particular format with the help of dates that are assigned to you guys for with the help of your content solution. So after completing your index, you will maintain the first title. The first semester midterm is starting or has been started, and you will mention the session 2020 till 21. Then you will mention the title page of your chapter number week number 2, then chapter number 1, and likewise step by step you will complete the work of the 3 different chapters from your book with the help of your different content solutions that are provided to you in the form of weeks. And right after the completion of your work, you will make a closing title, and this is something like this: first semester midterm has been completed or has been closed. And after making this particular title page, on the next page you will maintain the content page as this one. This is first semester midterm content, chapter number 1, chapter number 2 and chapter number 3 with their names. And after this chapter's name, you will mention the teacher signature, the remarks and the stamp line as you mentioned or as you have mentioned in the previous classes. So after the closing of the copy, firstly you will complete your work and then you will maintain your copy with the help of index, the copy work, your closing page, then most importantly your content. And right after the completion of your copy, you will make sure that your copy is submitted to the school reception as soon as possible for the checking purpose. And I hope that all the topics and all the things that I have discussed today with you guys is completely understanding to you, and you will not distract after this particular explanation. And now on the board I am telling you something really very important, and that is your examination. Yes, as soon as you arrive to the school, an assessment will be conducted for your particular subject ICT, and for the preparation of ICT you will focus all the chapters for all the different contests that is discussed in your book. For example, the concepts or the different topics that you are having: number 1 is objective type questions, number 2 descriptive type questions, and third one is your application based question. The last one is your in the lab question. You will completely understand all these parts, then you will memorize them very efficiently for your good marks, for your success in your examination. And before that we are having also the 2 different topics, that is memory bites from your book for every chapter, and next one is your head, that is known as tricky terms. So you will study all these topics, the relevant topics with for this particular respective chapters, and right after that, after the complete memorization of these 3 chapters, you will be able to attempt your assessment examination easily. Now I am telling you the pattern or the format in which you will be having your examination or your assessment. So the examination of ICT or the assessment paper of ICT is consisting of 2 different sections. Number 1 is your section A, and second one is your section B. Simply 2 simple sections. Section A is your brief section, and in this particular section you have the 2 different questions, question number 1 and question number 2. In question number 1 you have 5 different parts: part A, part B, part C, part D, and then part E. These are the 5 different parts, and all these 5 different parts have the questions that are objective type questions. So question number 1 is basically your objective question. In question number 2 you have to answer the 5 different questions as short. So these are the brief or the short answer questions. So in question number 2 basically 7 different questions are given to you, and you have to attempt only the 5 questions. Question number 1 carries the 10 marks. Question number 2 also carries the 10 marks. So in this way section A collectively carries the 20 marks. And for section B you are having again the 2 different questions, question number 3 and question number 4. And this section B is your lab performance section. This is your theoretical section. You will have to attempt the theory questions, all the theory questions in this section in the form of 2 different questions. And in section B, this is your lab performance section, and in this section you have to attempt the two different questions as question number 3 and question number 4, and they both carry the same marks, 5 marks and 5 marks. So in this way collectively section B carries the 10 marks. So this is a particular pattern that you have to work or you have to follow and you have to keep in your mind for your better examination preparation. So firstly you will memorize and you will understand all the chapters with the help of different video classes that we have delivered for you, and then you will memorize all the content solution work for your better achievement in your assessment for ICT of midterm first semester 2020. And inshallah we will meet in the next video class. In the next video class we will be having the different labs and we will watch the different classes or the videos for the lab practices and the lab performances. Until then you have to wait for the lab performances. Inshallah we will meet in the next video class. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.